morning. Today we're joined by Matt Baker from the city of Rochester. Thank you for joining us, Matt. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and where you work?
Yeah, I'm Matt. I work at the city of Rochester at the water reclamation plant. I'm a project manager here at the plant. We're actually the city's wastewater treatment plant in Rochester. Everything within the city limits comes here to the plant as well as some surrounding areas. And we treat that wastewater, reclaim the water, and discharge that to the river. And we take the solids from that process, treat those again, and land apply that solids on farm fields for fertilizer.
Excellent. So what made you decide to do what you're doing? What made you decide to become an engineer? And then kind of as we move forward, what made you decide to work at the water reclamation plant?
Yeah, it was definitely a process. It's not something you graduate high school and say, I'm going to go work at a wastewater plant. Definitely you get there over time. And, basically out of high school, I took a career course in high school, realized, my top three things were really engineering, whether it was civil engineering, environmental engineering, and mechanical engineering. And I didn't know much about them. Actually, I thought I always wanted to be an architect. Realized architects do a lot more art than structural stuff. Went to school and figured that out. Got my degree in civil engineering and had planned on going out and doing roads and bridges and development and things like that. Realized that just wasn't that interesting to me. Roads are pretty basic. There's nothing too much new to learn. Pretty standard stuff every day. A lot of people do that, and that's great. It just wasn't for me. I wanted to be more on the environmental side. Ended up going and getting my master's degree in environmental engineering. Got involved with some organizations at college and really got interested in the water and wastewater field. The two are very tied together, water, wastewater. It's even though I work at a wastewater plant, a lot of the processes and technologies are the exact same for both. After college and got a job at an engineering company in Kansas City and went to Kansas City to work for a Fortune 500 company. Was there for 5 years, basically designing water and wastewater treatment plants for a living. That's what I did. You start out as an entry-level engineer, and you just keep working hard and work your way up, and staff engineer, process engineer, pretty soon lead engineer, and then inspector and construction manager at that job. And when I left, I was doing project management work at the company, and this job opened up here in Rochester at the water reclamation plant, and I came interviewed and got the job. And one of the reasons why I wanted to move back is I'm from Zumbrota originally, and my wife is from Iota, so we wanted to be closer to home, which is the Rochester area, and that's why we moved back here to be with family and kids, and actually working at the plant's kind of a dream job for me. It's really what I wanted to do, and didn't realize how much I wanted to do it till I got here. It's nice having something that you can kind of call your own, and everybody that works out here feels like this is kind of like your house, or your car. It's yours, and you take care of it and keep it up. So that's what we do.
That's excellent. And what made you decide, not what made you decide, what did you do in high school to kind of lead you up to this specific field? You talked a little bit about the career course that you took, but what other classes did you take in high school that you thought were going to be helpful as you were going to be an architect, which is what you originally thought, and as you did become an engineer?
Yeah, I would say I'd always liked math. I just love math. It's just something I did. I like problem solving. I did we had a course in our town where we built a house. So I did that 1 year. You get to see everything from the ground up. Woodworking courses, shop class. It's not just reading and writing and but it's everything. It's doing those, shop classes, career class, typing class. Learning to type is really important. I know a lot of kids watching this are probably thinking, well, you've got voice recognition software and that'll be all I need. But that's not the case. You really need to, typing helps you convey what you want to say in a professional manner. And, technical writing class, if they have it, take it. It's really important for any career, honestly. Technical writing is really, really important. I always thought that, reading and writing was kind of second. You didn't really need to do much after you graduated. I was about as wrong as you could be. I have to read all day long and write all day long. Still do a lot of math, but the math you do, if you can take trigonometry or advanced algebra, get up to that level of classes, and you can do that in high school. That's what you need in life. You need to get through the algebra, geometry, trigonometry, and advanced algebra, and those are really critical for all professions. Even if you're a pipe fitter or electrician or a construction person or engineer, those are critical classes that you can use every day.
So you talked a little bit about what people would generally think of hands-on courses, things like shop and other classes like that. Tell me why those courses have been so important for you and you were glad you took them when you were in high school.
Yeah, they teach you the basics of, you learn how to use a tool, and the basics of that, but you can apply that to any problem solving or any new life lesson, new learning lesson. When you get a job, whether you go to college or not, when you get your first job, you're going to have to do a variety of tasks. And, maybe it's something like organizing files. Maybe it's something like building a wall on a job site. Those classes give you those basic skills in life to kind of do that. And they also really help out in your home life too. Eventually people are going to own a home. They're going to garden at home or do landscaping. And if you don't know how to run a tool, use a hammer or a drill or a sawzall or table saw, you have to pay somebody to do that. And you're going to be paying a lot more as time goes on because there's fewer people that have those skills. And it's really critical. I can't express enough to get those skills. We hire people here all the time, and they're great people. They become part of our family and friends. But some of them don't know how to trim a bush or trim a hedge, use a chainsaw. So you have to teach them all that. It takes a lot of effort to teach somebody that, at a job site when it's best if somebody already knows the basic skills when they come in.
So one of the things that you kind of referenced there is that there's a wide array of careers that take place at the plant, whether it be what you do or other people. Can you talk a little bit about the range of careers and what that looks like, and what maybe kind of education is required for each of them?
Yeah. Just to kind of quick give you some of the professions, we have electricians, mechanics, building maintenance guys, we have a painter, pipe fitters, operators, engineers, project managers, lab techs, environmental services people. So we have, inspectors, we have really everything. I shouldn't say everything, but we have a lot of different professions here at the plant. We even have a marketing person for our stormwater and sewer groups. So really, it's such a broad range of professions to make a system work, whether that's a water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, electric utility, same thing. They're going to have tons of different professions that work there. And, every requirement's different for each profession. Electricians, there's a very defined set of years and skills and experience that you need to be an electrician, whether it's a master electrician or a journeyman or just an apprentice. And we hire a variety of electricians here. Mechanics, a lot of their work, when you think of mechanic, you think of a car mechanic, but actually there's mechanics that work on the wind turbines that you see, you know, in western Minnesota. There's mechanics that are working on our, we have engine generators that produce electricity from our methane gas that we produce in one of our treatment processes. You know, there's mechanics that work on, you know, every building has heating and ventilation equipment. So there's just a lot of different types of mechanics out there that those skills are very needed. And we have a lot of construction people too, you know, and we hire, do upgrades all the time at the plant, and we're hiring contractors to come in and do that work. And there's just, you know, to make this place run, there's just a endless amount of trades and skills that are used to do that work.
So what kind of college degree did you go forward and get? And then obviously you mentioned before that you went and got your master's. Talk to us a little bit about that specific college degree, and did you think that when you graduated you were going to end up going to get a master's right away?
So when I went to college initially, I said 4 years will be more than enough and I'll be done. You know, because I didn't, you know, I wasn't a big school guy. You know, like I took shop, I built a house, I do a lot of woodworking at home and just like being outdoors. But my last year there, I realized, hey, I want to go into the water, wastewater field, the environmental field, and really in order to be in the process side of that, in order to be in the chemical and biological and treatment process side, you really need a master's to get hired in an engineering company. That was pretty obvious in looking for jobs for that particular field. And so then I stayed there for 2 more years and got my master's, all at North Dakota State University in Fargo. Is where I got both my bachelor's and master's degrees. And really that master's is what allowed me to get my job. It doesn't necessarily give you all the skills I use today. You know, a lot of my master's work I don't have anything to do with anymore, because it's a general skills, basic skills to get you prepared to be in a professional field. A lot of the things I do now is a lot more related back to work experiences over the course of my life, and you know, basic technical writing or basic math that I got way back in high school and just keep using today.
So what degree did you get when you were first in college?
So my first degree was a bachelor's in civil engineering, and civil engineering is a very broad field. That includes structural engineers, geotechnical engineers, transportation, water, wastewater, environmental. Really is a very broad field that defines many professional engineers. And then from that field, you can get more specific throughout your career. Sometimes you get a master's. Sometimes you don't need to have a master's, but you take certain paths. And mine happened to be in the water, wastewater treatment area.
So did you get any help from teachers, whether that be in high school or in college, to kind of help you form what that career path was going to be? Or was it something that you kind of figured out all on your own?
You definitely have to work on it on your own, but I would say that teachers help guide you and listen to them, because they typically know. I remember I took, I'm not sure if kids still do this, but we took an ASVAB test, and it kind of aligns your knowledge and skills with maybe a profession. And I remember back then the 2 that were chosen from that were environmental engineer, civil engineer, and a seaboat captain. And I've never even seen the ocean at that time, so obviously I was not going to be a seaboat captain of some fishing vessel or whatever. So the other 2 actually ended up being exactly what I ended up going into. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't say, okay, I'm going to do these. You know, it just, you know, of course, everybody has different likes and skills, and that kind of ended up going there. And in college, I think the biggest thing that got me into the water, wastewater field, the environmental field. I grew up in the country, so that was always there. In the back of my mind, you kind of want to be good stewards of our environment. But in school, there was an organization for students. It was the Water Environment Federation, which is a national, world-renowned group in our profession. And they had a student competition, and a few of us got involved in that. It was a great experience, and really realized that this profession is huge. Didn't know much about it even in college, but pretty soon you start taking those classes. You go on tours of treatment plants. You meet other professionals, and you really start to appreciate what they do, and just kind of grew to want to do that for a living.
So did you do any sort of internships or anything like that when you were in college too? Or, was there ever a time that you were inside of a wastewater treatment facility or a water treatment facility kind of working before you ended up doing it professionally?
So internships are critical. I can't express that enough. It's really critical. Having a job in general, getting out and getting some job experience is really important. When I was in high school, I worked at a countertop manufacturer in the summertime, made countertops. During school, I've had a variety of jobs, whether it's a cashier at a gas station or washing dishes at a restaurant or being a cook. I even worked in an art gallery when I was in college. Some people see me, and if I give them 4 jobs and one of them's an art gallery attendant, they always pick that as the job that I didn't do. But I actually was an art gallery attendant. So it's just kind of weird. That was a weird situation, but it was good experience. But I was a surveyor for a couple summers. I did inspection work a couple summers, and did construction management one summer. That's kind of, through my profession of engineering, I kind of grew from starting out with surveying and then, into inspection and construction management work as you get more experience. But those internships are what got me my engineering job out of college at a Fortune 500 company. I mean, if I hadn't had those summer internship experiences, I wouldn't have gotten that job. I mean, that's just because it's a Fortune 500 company. They only have 3 jobs a year in their water wastewater group that come open, and I happen to get it. Well, that's only because of my experience. There's dozens and dozens of other people out there looking for jobs, and even though companies want new young people and want to hire people, and there's a lot of vacant positions, there's also a lot of competition too. There's billions of people in the world. There's a lot of competition. So, yeah, definitely summer internships are very important.
So let's talk a little bit about soft skills. I think that that's something important, especially when you're talking about the need of getting a job and what those interviews look like. And just from your conversation, it sounds like it's important for the other roles that you do in your current job. So let's talk a little bit about soft skills. What would you suggest that students do to potentially get soft skills, and just talk about the importance of that in your specific role?
Yeah, I think soft skills are definitely important, especially in the interviewing process. If you walk in, we've had this happen. I interview people here myself for other jobs here. Sometimes you get somebody that walks in, you can tell right away maybe their mom or dad or somebody else filled out their application, and you start asking them questions, and they just freeze up. They can't convey what they want to say. It's just, you got to have the ability to at least talk to people. I think listening is really important, especially when you're starting out. Listen to what experienced people have to say, take that, learn from it. That way you don't make those same mistakes, because they're telling you from an experience. When somebody tells you, make sure you do this and don't do this, it's because they had a bad experience where something might have happened. And you can learn from that, and you don't have to make the same mistake that they did. Listening is really critical, I think. But also, as you get further in your career, it's really important to be able to teach. Teaching is a really critical skill that we value really highly here at the plant, and being able to teach and convey and show somebody new or somebody else or a coworker, or even teaching somebody higher up than you, a new skill or some information, and doing it professionally is really important. I think a lot of emphasis has been put on soft skills over the last 10 years, maybe 5 years especially. It is really important, but being technical and getting job experience, I'd say job experience is really important. We really focus on that here anyways. Having that job experience is critical.
Excellent. So can you talk to us a little bit about, maybe starting pay, pay scale for your role, and what kind of advancement opportunities there are in your specific field?
Yeah, so I'm a project manager currently. When you come out of school, you aren't going to be a project manager out of school. It's not a career path you can do right away. You need to have work experience. So it's hard to say what the starting pay would be for a project manager. But in general, an engineer out of school, I'm not sure what it is now. When I was in school, and this was quite a while ago, maybe 15 years ago, it was probably around $55,000, $60,000 a year salary, and as you move up, I think the biggest thing is if you put your time in, you're working hard, you're learning, you're getting more skills and more experience. Eventually, you get to a point where you start to get not only just the minimum raise every year, but you're getting bumps in responsibility, bumps in position level. You eventually getting to like a project manager, or maybe there's other paths like supervision, or maybe a technical. There's some other paths where you're very technical in a certain specific topic, and you get that niche, and you're know more about it than anybody else in the state or the world. There's those professions all over for everything, really. Somebody has to be an expert in everything somehow. And so the pay just really can really get high, especially because there's just not, there's so many people retiring, and there's just not a lot of people getting into the field of water and wastewater treatment. So I don't have a great answer for you, because it's very broad based on what you do, whether you work for an engineering company. I think our operators make, a more senior operator makes around $70,000 to $80,000 a year, which is very high for an operator. We're a pretty complicated plant. So I think our entry-level person that's cleaning and doing some sampling and analysis, they're still making probably $50,000 a year, which is pretty high as well for an entry-level position. So kind of just gives you a very broad idea of a wage.
So what does your average day look like? From what it sounds like, you don't really have an average day necessarily, but you could even talk about what your today looks like as well, just to kind of give us an idea of what you're doing on a regular basis.
Yeah, so it does vary every day. I mean, I don't have a day that's like the next. I never have. Everything's different. Right now we're starting up a gas flare. It's a new project that I helped design and implement and manage and inspect. And that's starting up officially tomorrow morning, but this afternoon and today we're doing some testing. We have to test it out first, make sure your power is to the panel and your valves are all working properly and you're doing test pressures and temperature checks and things. So we're doing that this afternoon. This morning I have, this interview, and I already had two meetings this morning already, one to go over the day and one for another project we have starting that just bid. It's a $12 million project that just bid, and we'll be starting that here in a couple of weeks with contractors on site. So, today I'll be doing some contract work for that. I also have a risk management plan that I'm working on this afternoon for our chlorine system. So it's, and I'm sure I'll get a call on budget. I do our budget here at the plant as well for the whole utility. So I get calls pretty much every day on our budget. Do we have enough for this? Is the revenue going to be okay? Did coronavirus cause this issue? It's always something, and and I like it. I like fast-paced. I like, I'm in the office a lot, but I also get to go out and do things like that flare project, or pretty soon I'll be inspecting this new $12 million upgrade, which is quite a bit. So we'll be, I'll be spending a lot of time on that.
Excellent. Thank you very much. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that? If any students had any questions or anything like that?
Yeah, they could call me or email me. I'm not sure if you put that on the web video or.
We can do that.
Okay. Yeah, either one. That's fine. They can call or email, and I'm available anytime. Just don't call me at 2 in the morning. Because, usually if you get a call at 2 in the morning, it's something broke down and something bad's happening. You have to run into work to help, solve the problem. So, but other than that, yeah, I'm available for any questions anytime.
So what is your email and phone number? And we can put them on the screen as well.
Yeah, my phone number is 507-990-5377. And my email is mabaker, that's M as in Matt, A as in alphabet, BAKER, @rochestermn.gov.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate it. And I know the students are going to appreciate it as well. This was great and provided a lot of information. So I hope you have a wonderful day and good luck with your flare project today.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I hope you have a great day too.
Thanks.